Today we're joined by entrepreneur and Porsche enthusiast Zach Hegde from Renton Motorsport, Australia. Beyond the cars is someone who's built businesses, invested in people, and chosen to support one of Australia's rising GT drivers, Jensen Shearer, who's already have been on the podcast. Today we're exploring what it really takes to build not just companies, but character. Welcome to Furtitude Flow, the podcast, Zach.
Thank you, Frederick. It's a pleasure to be out here.
It's really nice to have you here. It's going to be a lot of fun, this one. So yes, I can. Maybe you can just start with telling people who are Zach Hegde and why you got into motorsport, and you're really passionate about this. So,
well, what do they say? If you're passionate, you don't need to work a day in your life, right? And I call that bullshit, right? You still have to. You still have to work every day, my friend. Tenacity is what you need to build any business. So that's something which I've learned in my life is you have to turn up. It's similar to going to a gym or similar to, building any behavior that you need. You need tenacity to build any business. And fundamentally, I like building stuff, right? It's not the end that I seek, it's the journey that I want. And the journey is coming into building different stuff. So from businesses in cars, media platform like Automotive, which is also one of the top, media magazines, which we've been doing for the last 25 edition. I know people tell I'm an idiot, but there's an idiot born every minute, right? So I do like the print format, and that's the magazine is keeping going. It's got massive following of over 500,000 plus in the world, right? So there's a cult following for that Retromotive, which is purely by viewers who love following what we do. We don't get advertisement from brands, but saying that there are true followers out there in the world. Now, other business, it's more the motorsport stuff also happened by default, not by pure choice, because I love motorsports and the team in Renton, which is run by Mark Buick for the last 30 years. They were giving me service for my own personal rallying. I love motorsports. And I myself drive a Porsche in the gravel rally, probably because of my ADD. I'm not able to go around a track continuously, right? So rallying helps, the trees don't move, so you got to be very careful, right? So building business has become a passion of mine where I enjoy, the culture, the team, the creating, getting people together, being the tide, lifting everyone with you as you keep going along. And that's been a beautiful journey. And I have gratitude for what I've achieved so far and grateful for the people around me, all right? Come to a stage where we're able to do this way. So that in particular has been my business journey, and it's still ongoing. I don't think it's going to stop. Like my wife says, it's not going to stop till the time I die. So that's a journey on this planet.
You're in it for a long run here, it seems.
Absolutely, absolutely, my friend. And if you're not there for the long run, right, things, like I said, you have to turn up, and things will not be seen to the end if you're not there for the long run.
And you are also from India, I know. So did your past shape your values when it comes to your business and how you are around people and these type of things?
It's very interesting, and there's a YouTube video by Dr. Devdutt Patnaik who defines, it's a TED talk which is given where it defines East versus West, where the cultures are quite different. Where in the East, it's a very linear culture. So it's a very, you follow the CEO's vision, his mission, his values, the process. And if you're able to do that, you get promoted. But as you know, Frederick, having the Indian background yourself, in India, nothing happens in a process flow. Everything goes circular, right? It's not linear, it's circular, right? So if not today, it's tomorrow, right? And tomorrow never comes. Because in Indian time doesn't exist. If it's not this life, it's the next life.
Right? Yeah, it's very true.
You see that in Bollywood, right? They're dancing around the trees, after life, you're going to be lovers forever. So similar to that in the context of the business world, it is like that, where if you're going to get a tailor to make your wedding dress, He's going to give it to you in the last minute, just before you're going to get married, and he'll send it to you. But he'll get the job done. He'll get the job done, right? Whereas that same thing in the Western world, it doesn't work because you have to follow your timelines. You Gantt chart everything. You get everything done properly. The behavior is quite different. But understanding that, especially doing international business, it helps a lot because your truth is different than my truth. Your values are different than my values. So how do you align values, right? One of my business does a lot of work from China. And you can get good stuff from China or you can get bad stuff from China. It all depends on what you're willing to pay. So understanding their culture makes a big difference. So it has been enlightening for me doing my master's in ethnography and anthropology has been very helpful understanding different cultures. So yes, I would say, Frederick, coming from the background has helped me align, right, to understand the Australian values, which is beautiful in the sense that they're very assimilative culture. And if you work hard, you are able to do whatever you want. And I can be an example of that, right? Since I've come in as a migrant, I worked my ass off and literally, turned up to the party.
That's really brilliant and awesome. And it's what you say is so different. The Eastern and the Western culture. First time I was in India and I worked with music there. I did have a lot of experiences with that. Things
Yeah.
will happen, but we don't know when yet.
Yeah. You live it in the, it will happen. Ho jayega, it will turn up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how did you start building the business? It seems like you've been doing this for years now. How
Yeah.
really got you into it?
So basically, one of my other business also has been Merchant Effect, which is a merchandise company, and it does alcohol, and that has been taken over by the CEO who's based in Dubai. Now, I strongly believe the world is flat, right? And there's a lovely book written, I forget his name, the author who wrote the book, The World is Flat. And in that, using resources worldwide, understanding people worldwide and using different resources, which has helped me build the business. And you can think big, Frederick. You don't need to think small, right? Anything you do, you can think in a global level and you can be positioned anywhere in the world. And people are doing that right now, right? They're doing global setup and global management from based in, and post-COVID, it has helped everyone. So that's what I've always done is thought, let's go big if you're going to do it. Sure, it might take a longer time, but, let's try and attempt it. But also have been content with what I have. And having that sense of gratitude has always helped me keep myself grounded. Sure, I know you jump up and down like every person. And like I said, ADD doesn't help. I always want to jump from one project to another project, right? So trying to come back to planet Earth, when Houston calls you and keep yourself grounded.
That's
So
good.
yeah, keep going. So you ask me the question, I'll tell you, anything else you want to know on the business side.
Yes, basically, in motorsport, it seems that it's a lot of competition, and it seems to me that it's a lot of. We all know it's a lot of money involved to have a company like that to succeed. The cars are not very cheap, and parts and stuff, and especially I was thinking then, how do you get sponsorships? How do you create contacts that are willing to join on this adventure and journey?
Sure. And Frederick, it's a very interesting question you asked, right? And I see many of the times when young drivers come across, they pitch about who they are, right? And especially in a business, and this isn't, kind of a thing for any young drivers who are trying to get out there to get sponsorship. Jensen Shearer is a very good example we had before. He came to us, a year and a half ago saying, yep, I want to drive with you guys. I'm determined to make what it happens to get there, right? And he's done it through pure determination, right? Through pure willpower of trying to turn up every day, right? And he has done that. He's turned up, he's gone and got sponsors himself. All credit to him, right? I will give him all the credit for what he's done. For a young 21-year-old boy who sat down every day and looked for sponsors, tried to get them, and he's gone and got that across the line, right? And during the process, you educate them, you tell them, hey guys, you might be the best driver in the world. Surely there are many drivers out there in Africa, in Middle East. You can see them driving on 2 tires and changing tires in Saudi, right? these are some mental guys. You go to Russia, I'm sure the great drivers could beat Max Verstappen or any one of those guys. But they don't get a chance to drive. They never will get a chance to drive, right? It's chances what you create yourself. You take the opportunity and you work hard towards it. Going back to Max, you and Verstappen, even he had to work hard towards it, right? So everyone does. But saying that, if you're going to go to a sponsorship, always remember it's what's in it for them. It's not about you,
Yes.
right? If you're able to tell it what's in it for them, you're able to understand their business, not just who you are, right? Put yourself aside, see what you can take to offer to the sponsors, ensure that you make them look good, because the minute you make them look good, they will come back for more. Follow through, ensure you give them feedback, ensure they understand what you've done for them is actually valid. They have got some ROI from investing in you, right? It could be emotional ROI, it could be visibility ROI, it could be value ROI, whatever it is. Have a conversation with them, right? So just not take the money and run away, right?
No, that's not a good idea.
Ensure that you give them something, right? So that part is really important for sponsors, and there are many sponsors out there who are willing to come and play. Many sponsors who want to do that, especially with the Netflix factor that's come across, right? There's a massive tailwind on that, and you'd have seen recently the Nürburgring 24 Hours that took place, right? Had one of the biggest viewership, and viewership is just not in Formula One; it's in all different motorsports. There's massive following and core and cult following for brands. Even from the brand's point of view, if they invest in the grassroots level, it's way cheaper for them to come in, and they get some good talent and good drivers who'll take them along for the ride also, right?
Yeah, and during a long period, a career
Exactly.
maybe even. It's
Absolutely. Loyalty
very
is there.
smart.
Yeah. So that's how I see it, Freddie. It should work on both sides, from the driver's side and the sponsor's side.
Yeah, and me talking to Jensen, he said also, of course, it can be exhausting to be very young and looking for sponsors and trying to get them and not give up and stuff. So you have to have a lot of strong mentality and to try to
You
find
do.
something.
Absolutely. You also have to have, because at that age, as much as you think you know a lot, we all think at 21 we know everything kind of stuff. It's only as the life beats you around, then you don't know
That's
much. And as you come
not
to
at
my
all.
age, you know nothing as you get older, right? So, I mean, it's always good for young drivers to have a mentor, right? And to find a good mentor around who can actually help them, guide them, tell them the way what to do. And for some of them, it probably may not be the case, right? Because you have to remember the kind of sacrifices you have to make, Frederick, right? Sacrifices could be, your family has to sacrifice, your friends have to sacrifice, everyone around you, you have to sacrifice, right? And that's for the pure pleasure of you racing around a track, right?
Yes.
And people could see it as being very selfish, right? And you could get into the philosophical point of view of that and say, hey, what's the outcome? What's going to happen? But the world runs that way. You're doing motorsports goes and gives employment to so many people around you, right? There's a car that you buy. There's suppliers for the cars that gets employment. There's a mechanics. There's a technicians. There's a transport truck that comes along. There are people who are putting stickers on the truck. So all of these guys get jobs because of your racing, right?
Yeah, and
So
it's a big team.
it's a big team. You see them, you don't see them, Frederick. There's a massive team. So they're all getting employed because you want to race, right? So you are benefiting the bigger society. You're doing it a lot. And hence, that's why the sponsors need to see it also. There is a lot of money being spent by the individuals. Sure, they have to perform, right? And winning is not everything anymore, especially with social media that's come into play right now. You don't have to be the topmost driver, but you need to have the topmost content for your sponsors, right? Because that's what they're paying you for your visibility. Sure, winning helps, right? It's a pride and it's everything else. But I'm sure a crash has got a lot more views, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it still helps.
And I
Yeah.
was just wondering now, as I see your T-shirt as well, Rennen, the name behind it.
Yeah. So
Why is
Renan
this?
was found by Mark Buick. He bought the name. It's German for running, right? And it's kind of stuck because Adelaide in Australia, surprisingly, is only the free colony in the country where it was settled by non-convicts and it was settled by Germans, right?
Okay.
Back in 1840, 1850, they had the Lutheran movement in Germany, so most of the migrants went and settled down there. So hence it's a very Germanic town and very deep and very, culture-wise, it's got Handorf, Kondorf, all the wines, the most amount of Porsche GT3 allocations, most amount of German cars. So it's a very interesting culture that's there in Adelaide. So hence, the motorsport culture in Adelaide is very big. Formula One was first in Adelaide, right? Before it went to
Yes.
Melbourne, which everyone knows right now, right? So they are a bit bitter about it. They're very upset about that, losing Formula One,
Yeah, it's
right?
so big. It's a
Yeah,
very important.
exactly. So yeah, yeah. So hopefully they are trying to get it back, right?
They
But
are
they've got
trying, yeah.
MotoGP. They got MotoGP, the first street circuit in the world. So that'll be an interesting one. Like you said, they're changing the bikes also. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
mean,
interesting.
it's going to be very interesting to see next year. I follow MotoGP, and Marc Marquez, of course, is my favorite.
Nice,
But
yeah,
I liked it more when he was driving for Honda
yeah.
than
But
Ducati because I drive Honda myself.
what do you ride? What do you ride?
A Honda CBR 600.
Nice. That is a nice
It's
bike.
really
Yeah,
fun.
it is. Yeah.
So yeah, and I was also thinking Porsche. Why the brand means it means something deeper, and I mean those cars are so I would say they are so unique, and they have a very big and long history, and they are so good in. Yeah, it's actually very cool to just have one as a private person, obviously too. But it's they are so famous those cars for being on a racetrack. Why is that?
It's the pedigree of Porsche basically is racing, is motorsports. Right. So since they first evolved in 1960s or whatever they came from the whole concept of racing. Right. So from there, having that background, having that motorsports background, and it's been continuously going for them in that level, right? So year after year, they've been doing racing cars and racing development and racing and so on and so forth. So that pedigree in a car is very valuable. I'm sure there are other brands too, right? There's Ferrari, there's Audi, there's BMWs and everything else. And for me, I'm stuck with Porsches. I know I fell into a Porsche years ago. I bought one 15 years ago. I loved it. I crashed a couple. Then I learned how to drive it. Right? So, okay, this is how it's very different after crashing. A very expensive lesson to learn, right? I think I would have been the fastest Indian Uber driver, but not the
That
fastest,
would be cool though.
right?
So it's a lot of money in that too.
Oh, and,
If you're fast.
yeah, true, Fred. But then, Freddie, it's such a simple car, right?
Yeah.
It's not as complex as people think it is, especially the air cooled. I can't comment much on the water cooled because I'm not into the water cooled air. I'm more into the air cooled, as you can see here, right? Probably my age sticks with that. But it is beautiful. It is simple. And once the car comes together, when you're driving in a rally, in a rally at speed, then you understand, wow, this is why they built the car for. This is what it's meant to do. And then it gets boring to drive it on the street. Right?
Yeah,
It really
okay.
boring. Because it comes together in a rally for circuit. You want to go fast. And now I'm literally left with not many points at all. All my points are gone in my license. So I have to be more careful. Yeah.
And you have been racing a lot before, uh, Red.
I've been rallying a lot before more than racing. Like I said, my ADD kicks in when I go around a track and I get bored and I end up braking at different times and spinning out because I try too hard, right? But rallying is more fun because the camaraderie out there is very different, Frederick, right? And that's surprising. I don't know why cultures change in the sense that people in a race circuit, it's all about winning, right? Because they're also determined to win. Whereas people go to a rally, it's about having fun. It's about the whole network. It's about the team. It's, being happy, being think because you're all camping, you're all in the same area, and everyone wants to help everyone out. So even if you have an issue with your car, there's always other team members coming to help you out. right? And that's around the world. It's just not in Australia. It's all around the world that camaraderie is beautiful in rallying. Sure, it's more dirty, but hey, that's why we love playing in the dirt, right? But it is a very fun sport to be involved in. So
Yeah, and it's
rallying,
very social.
yeah, very social, Freddie. Yeah.
But what would you, for people who don't know, and I'm curious too, first time you go out on the racetrack, you sit in the car, you can hear the sound, you see all your competitors. How would you describe that feeling?
Good question. It's something similar, the flow state. I'll come to that when I asked my daughter, why do you swim? Right? Why do you go swimming? She's swimming in the state championship. And why do you do that? And she said, all I'm waiting for is the buzzer to go off. When they say ready, set, go. When they say go and the beep, beep, my world changes. Right? I'm hyper focused. I'm just waiting for the water to hit my skin, and I know I'm flying in the water. Right?
Okay,
And that's
nice.
the same thing happens to all the drivers. Right? When they see the light go, their mind just goes. You get into a zone, right? When I hear 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, your mind just switches off. It goes into that, not switch off, you go into the zone where it's survival, right? It is
Yes,
survival. You're going very fast and you have to survive. It's like while you're riding motorbikes, right? Why do you ride motorbikes? You get to a Zen state,
it's
right? You
very
get,
nice. Yes, it's a beautiful
yeah,
feeling.
it's the same, where you enjoy it and you miss it and you want to go back to it. Similar when it comes to racing and rallying, you want to do that. And there are many sports that happens, right, where you get into a flow state. And that's similar in motorsports. And you're just seeking that. You're just running after that, chasing the thrill of getting into that, state of mind. It's what Steve McQueen says, there's racing and there's waiting, right?
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so you have to wait a lot, but then when you get to race, it's the fun part. So that's what you end up doing on that.
Awesome. And I was also thinking, because I talked to Jensen about this as well, and there's so many mind games and details when you are driving GT3, GT4, and you have to plan. There's so many details when it comes to the training, getting enough sleep, he mentioned, but also, I mean, having the mentality to always push yourself in the car a little bit more and test out the car and see what actually works for you. And all these details, is that something, I'm guessing the character as a driver get built simultaneously while the car is built, I'm guessing. The whole team is probably, it has to be a lot working together to make all this happen, to be successful.
It is. It is. It takes a lot. You're not wrong there. There's a lot of detail, right? The devil is in the detail. Okay. And first and foremost, your attitude beats knowledge. If you have an attitude that you're willing to learn, then the world is open for you to learn from, right? And with that attitude in mind that you're willing to absorb the right information is critical. So if a driver comes to the track, his job is just to drive, not to get distracted by anything else. Hence, as a team, our team's job and the team people around his job is to remove all the distraction from him. Right? He's to be
Okay.
told, literally told what to do. You treat them like little kids, whoever the driver is. You turn up here, you go here, you do this, you do this. You're told every second of the day what to do. So you don't have to think,
That's
right?
actually quite easy, isn't
Yeah. So
it?
your job is just to drive, Freddie, right? You have to perform there. So if your bandwidth is getting used trying to do different things, then your brain is getting exhausted. And brain uses a lot of your energy, right? You want an incorrect conversation before the race can set him off.
Yeah,
And
of course, you need to be focused.
exactly. And any driver, right? Somebody says something upsetting, right? Somebody say, any commentary, any for that matter. So we need to ensure that the driver's focus is on the sole purpose of him driving the car, right? And all the tiny details can be done after. Everything else can be managed after that he needs to manage. There's nothing that can, break anything that we have to worry about. Do you want to do an interview? You can do it after, right? So the focus has to be critical in that whole point. And coming up to the race, getting sleep is one of the biggest thing. Sleep, 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 sleep. Right? And then the whole, rigmarole of how to do the stuff. And I'm sure there are many more professionals who are well known who'll be on your podcast will tell more how to do about this.
Hopefully, it's really fun to learn more about it, and I do love motorsport and the sound and the engine. It's very interesting, the whole thing, and just the competition, the passion. People are so passionate about it, and you can see all over the world that people, because probably maybe because of the Netflix series as well that got Formula
Mhm.
One on it, and then the MotoGP, and it seems like people are really more engaging into it. And 2 years ago, three, I was in Portugal watching in Portimao the MotoGP there, and
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
just the whole circus around it, the whole vibe and energy, and it's so
Yeah,
fun.
it
It's
is,
a
isn't it?
beautiful life to be involved in.
Yeah, it is. I would say it's kind of an art also, where I'm coming from art. I mean, back in the Roman days or any kingdom, they had to do art. Colosseum was built, right? Where the
Bread and
gladiators.
circus.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so these are our modern day gladiators, you see, and people go to see them, and this is what people get happy when the team wins. They're happy, right? It
Yes.
gives joy to different people, on different walks of life, and plus the people making money, plus the livelihoods of everyone that is involved in the sports. So it is a good thing. However you look at it, motorsport's brilliant, and I think Liberty Media has done a great job of bringing it to the front. Bringing the showcase to the front. Yeah.
I think that's very important, and I agree with that. And I
Mm.
was also thinking, you backing up like people like Jensen Shearer and young talents. Are you looking for them, or are you? Um, is that something? Is that to build a whole business more and expanding it? And what are you looking for when you
Oh,
are
the
finding
ambition
talents?
definitely is there. The money is always the issue, right? So if you have sponsors who are willing to come and sponsor us and throw us $1 million and say, hey, here you go, build the whole team. We'll have a team Milwaukee or team whatever name. Sure, we can find the talent. There's heaps of talent. So let's know if there's any sponsors out there who want to build a team in Australia. Like gladly, we'll set it up for them. The infrastructure is there, the trucks are there, the team is there, everything else to back it up is there. Including the visibility factor, including the media, the network, the television time, and everything else. So as much as we get a lot of inquiry from many good drivers and talented drivers, we unfortunately can't back everyone, right? They needs to have a bit of their own backing to get up to the stage, because it also means the seriousness we need, Freddie, right? Because you have to be committed. You have to put your foot where your mouth is, and that's usually money, right? And you need to show you're willing to go that extra mile because there's a lot of investment needed from the business to get you up there. So yes, it is hard. I'm not denying it's really hard, but there are ways to get around it, right?
That's
And
wonderful,
following,
and I think it's
yeah,
probably very encouraging for people to hear that who wants to follow their dreams and drive as well.
and our friend Jensen Shearer is a very good example, right? You can follow
Yes.
his journey. He will be in Europe playing in your home ground soon, and that's one of our intent is to ensure that he goes away, not stays with us, right? Sure, as much as business is good by keeping him, what's the point in keeping Freddie? I mean, keeping Jensen if he's not able to perform and go higher, right? I want him to be driving in the European circuit, driving in that bigger scheme of things. So love, of course.
He did actually mention that sooner or later he had to go to Europe
Mm.
because it's where it's a lot bigger here, he said.
Yeah, it is massively bigger in Europe than here. Yeah.
There's a lot of good racetracks here, and yeah, it is. But it's really nice that you are investing so much in young talents and change their lives forever. It's very
Oh
good for
man.
the sport.
Hopefully it's good for them, good for the sport, and good for the business, right? We all
Yes.
that everyone comes up together with it. And plus, it helps the team who are learning. I would love the team to go overseas and try, the mechanics and the technicians and all that. And they themselves are talents too, which people forget. They are the guys who make the heroes, right? It's the technicians who are very important in this whole aspect. The engineers play a very vital part. When to bring the car into pits, do all that stuff. And when you come here next, Freddie, we'll take you to one of the Jensen races, and you'll see what happens when you're seeing numbers going across on the screen, and when you start understanding that, you're not even watching him race, but you're just watching the numbers. Then you go, this is what these guys are doing, getting excited about some numbers on the screen. So it's very geeky,
Always going a little bit faster.
Yeah, a microsecond,
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that. And I was thinking as well, we both are from India, and yeah, I mean, the Indian roots go deep, and I mean, family values over there and stuff. Is there any of your family values you have put into your, I would say, maybe mentality when it comes to building businesses and, like you said, moving to Australia and start a whole new life? And it's not easy to move to a different country and create something.
It's not. Let me be honest and frank out here, right? And I have to, because this is a very personal, touchy subject for me, Freddie. Australians are very honest people, very truthful people, right? And honesty runs very deep in the values of this country, right? The government is very open. The people are very honest, very straightforward. They'll tell you as it is. They don't suffer fools. And I'm talking about the macro culture, not individuals. So you can obviously tell me there's an individual. Sure, that's different, right? I'm talking in a macro culture sense. At the same time, Indian culture is very hospitable, very, loving, very inviting into the house, but a very defensive culture, right? Very defensive when it comes to, their own values, when it comes to their own stuff. So there's two different states we are talking about. We're talking about a civilization state, which is India, which comes from deep civilization. And we are talking about a nation state, which is Australia, which is in economically speaking, the late mover advantage, because they've been formed in the last 200 plus years. So it's a new country, with the values are built differently. So you can't compare the two, but you can take the best of two and use it yourself, right? And that's what I'm trying to do out here, is use both the values to my advantage, right? Understanding where the Indian values come from, at the same keeping the hospitality, openness, sharing, having that depth of being that civilization side, and then the nation side of being honest, being true, trying to build something for the country, doing it together, kind of a thing. So that in a nutshell, I would say the two different values are,
It's very good. Both words then. It's cool. Very good. Is there any defining moment that changed the direction of your life while you were there? That that what got you into this?
I couldn't, it's also another thing where people tend to say, hey, you're successful, you're doing well. How did that happen? It's Freddie, it's not about, it doesn't happen overnight, as you know, right? It takes time and patience and you don't even realize it's happening, because your journey is different from how people see you, right? Your personal journey is very different. While you're going through your journey, people don't understand the pressure, the pain, the laughter, the sadness, the money issues, the other issues, everything that you face, right? All they see is the cars, the building, the business, the blocks, the racing team, the winning, everything else they see in front, which is not their fault, because that's what's visible, because that's what you throw in your social media, right? You don't go and say, oh, mate, we fucked up, we lost, right? You go and say, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had an anti-Instagram where you only showed the fuck ups, believe me,
maybe you get a lot of followers then too, actually.
Yeah, only fuck ups only, right? No, faces without makeups, cars failing, drivers failing, So,
That's the other side of the medal.
Yeah. And that would be 90%, I think, of the entire content that you have is failures. 10% would be the success which you see on the other side. on the real Instagram sites. So that's where I'm coming from in that sense, you know. You need to understand anyone who's successful has had a lot of shit that's gone through too.
So, will you say that failure teach you more than success does in a lot of ways to always improve?
Oh, mate, I couldn't say that about myself, Frederick. I still go and fuck up. Still fuck up, you know. Even after I've been told, hey, mate, listen, you fucked up last time with the same shit. I'll again go fast. Next patch. Oh, shit, I can learn from that. Why I say that is that the famous Bernie Webb, who's a champion navigator in Australia, right? And he's in the rally world. And 10 years ago, when I was, going to start rallying again, he told me, mate, come and sit with me. We'll teach you how to drive and we'll get you there. And me being the cocky self, I said, nah, I'll be all right. You know, I've done it in India. Indian drivers are good. We can go fast. You know, I've done a few rallies in my younger days. I can do it. And lo and behold, first corner, I'm on my roof.
Oh, first
Literally.
corner.
Oh, a few corners later, I would say. Metaphorically speaking, it is first corner in the rally. And then a few rallies later, another crash. And third rally later, you know, it's never the driver's fault. So I try to say, oh, it's the navigator. But no, it was my fault, right? Absolutely. I got to face it. You know, spun the car, put it on his roof and all that stuff. And then, you know, one of my navigators said to me, mate, do not let your ambition overtake your talent, right? I said,
Actually, a good advice, huh?
very good advice, right? So I reached out to Bernie Webb and I said, you know, I had Kim and Bernie. Bernie was brilliant, you know, and so was Kim in the psychology of why I was rallying. What was the reason behind it, you know? And for me, it was the respect of the peers. And everyone has different reasons why they're doing it. And then from there, Bernie sat with me in the car and he actually taught me how to drive, which is quite different. I had no idea how to drive, right? No, not at all. Surprisingly, people think they know how to drive unless they actually don't know how to drive and they sit with somebody who knows really how to drive, right? And that made a difference in my driving skill right now because what he taught me was driving with safety, right? Having your safety in mind while you're doing the racing so you don't crash your cars and wreck your cars. The cars are safe, right? But still, you never know. And that mindset changing is I'm enjoying the sport a lot more right now, right? Because I know now I have the feel of the car. Now I understand what the car is doing. Now I know what the ability of the car is. I'm learning and progressing as we keep going, right? The soft thing when the rubbers are getting the grip, I can feel that now. And now I'm driving at 70%, not at 100%. Previously, I was driving at 120%, thinking well, I was not winning, right? Because I was not, you know, messing up everywhere. But now it's the long game. So yeah, it definitely makes a big difference, you know, in when you're learning how to drive and undrive and unlearn and all that, really. And even with bikes, you know, motorbikes, you learn the skill where you learned on trials riding, which is quite different than road riding. So, but the skills are transferable.
Yeah, me and Jensen talked about that too when it comes to the bikes, and it's sooner or later on a bike you're gonna hurt yourself if you are
Oh,
on a
ask Jensen.
racetrack there.
Yeah, Jensen has done it sooner, man. He's got
Oh
some broken
yes.
bones to do it.
Nah, for him to fight through that and got back into motorsport again
Yeah.
was is actually very is incredible story. So
No,
for people go back and watch the episode number 19 with Jensen Shearer. I recommend that episode as well. It's a very
oh,
good one.
not just that, to add to that, also the personal challenges he's had, you know, with the loss of his
Yes,
mother, which is very close to, and everything else. So that young boy has been through a lot to perform and deliver at this national stage the way he's doing right now. Hats off to him. And Mark Buick, you
exactly.
know, yeah, who's been there for 30 years and who's seen many drivers come under him, says straight away he's one of the most exceptional drivers. Right? Because we didn't know his skill set before he sat with us. We knew he did go-kart, but we didn't know what he'd be in a tin car, you know, in a full shell car.
Yeah,
And he's
exactly.
blown us all out of. He's been observed by GD4, you know, by Monochrome. Everyone speaks about him. So he's been exceptional that way and a very good role model for many young drivers who are coming across.
Yeah, he also told me that he was teaching someone else how to drive karting and share his experience down to newer generations. So that's really good as well.
He should. He
Very,
should be. He'll be the next generation, right? And I think he should have that mindset as it keeps going along, to bring others
yes.
under his wing as it keeps going. Freddie.
I was also thinking, how do you make difficult decisions when it comes to running a whole team and, I mean, see everybody perform? And how do people come together as a team in a motorsport team? It's so many details, micro details.
It is. It is. But the team themselves know how to do most of the job. So the team is professional where they've learned, right? And and it's a very interesting fact where the team carry their own weight. And if somebody's not able to carry the weight, they're literally out of the team. You know.
Okay, yeah.
So you understand when somebody has left the team, it's the reasons are multiple. Sure, there might be personal also, but also the reason, right? They're not carrying the weight. But if it's going to be about an individual which needs to be addressed, and usually it gets very hard to get into a motorsport team, right? But when you do, the team takes care of you if you're a very good person out there, right? But from my point of role, my role is to ensure that as my job, I'm just the assistant for the team. I'm not the team owner or the team boss. My job is to ensure that I give them all the tools they need. I give them all the information. I give them everything to make their job better, right? Because if I'm able to provide the ammunition to them, then they can succeed in doing their job well. And I could be running water for them or getting drinks or getting stuff. Even any job like that ensures that they are doing better, right?
I
So
understand.
I'm not above them, I'm with them.
Yeah.
And my job is to assist them in performing. So that's one of the main roles that I take in the whole business. And not just with that business, my entire business, that's how I look at it, right? Being a CEO doesn't mean you're above. Being a CEO, you lead from the front, but you ensure that you assist everyone, right?
And
You're the
probably see what they need and
exactly, and it might be in
creating good
many.
relations.
You need to understand where they are coming from, what their values are, what's happening to them, where their personal life is, which they want to share, and so on and so forth. And end of the day, we are humans, Freddie, right?
Yes.
We are humans, and everyone has a soul. Everyone has their own story, right? Everyone has a story. So we are no different than anyone else. It's only the depth of the story that varies from one individual to another. So how do we understand that when you're coming together to ensure that Jensen wins or the other race driver wins, what are we doing at that moment in time to all cohesively come together? And that's what makes a team, right? Because everyone carry their own problems in and out. But that's my job, is to ensure that they all come together at the same time when it's needed. You know. Hmm.
Really good. You're the glue in the whole thing then.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They are the glue.
Um,
Yeah.
I would say it was something here I read and Renan Plus. And it was very interesting because I noticed an article there, and it was about the space age technology finding its way into classic Porsches. And what fascinates you most about the crossover between aerospace engineering and the automotive engineering? And do you think there's still something the car industry can learn from the space industry today? The
Oh my.
technology is moving so vastly now. So it's like, what's going to happen in a few years? It seems to me that, well, motorsport is just going faster and faster.
It is, right. It is. Technology is moving. I mean, you look at just recently, which I heard, I was following an article about this new, very thin. I don't know the name for it. I think it's in China, which they got the black gold or liquid gold or something. It's very, if your hair is 1 micron, it's like 0.05 micron, and it can literally pull a 10-ton truck, right? A thin fiber thing, which is layered, and you're going, wow, that's where the technology is heading, and that's so much lighter than carbon. Mass is reduced, right? If you reduce weight, then you're moving stuff around. Everything, the dynamics around it change. So technology will always keep advancing, right? It's not going to stop. But we don't need to look at it from a technology point of view, but we need to look at it from a needs point of view. What are our needs, right? and whole economy is running around motorsports. So you can't take people out of it. You need the people because it's a physical infrastructure. Sure, AI will come in. AI is going to help a lot of people doing a lot of stuff in that, right? But doesn't mean a car still needs a team to run. The truck still needs to move, right?
Yes, and someone to drive it.
Well, Freddie, who knows? It's going to be autonomous driving the truck. You load the truck up in a, autonomous, truck, and it lands in the racetrack, right? China
It's
is already,
unbelievable.
yeah, robots might drive it, right?
But it's not
So
going to be the same then.
yeah, it's not probably not, but then you still need humans out there. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Who knows how it's going to change? But people are needed around it, right? If you then somebody needs to control the robot, don't they?
Oh,
Right?
yes.
Yeah, so
Someone.
instead of going to London, what if the robot ends up going to, Ibiza to party, right? With the Formula One truck in the back. So you never know what is needed out there.
And I'll maybe ask this before a little bit, but what does Porsche means to you personally? Because you are very enthusiastic about that brand and car.
Yeah, so for me, it's happened over a period of time. I'm not one of those guys who loves to polish his Porsche and shine it and go to drives for cars and coffee. I mean, we have a simple thing in the workshop which I have my private stuff where they say will it rally, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
WIR, will it rally? Any car, first question, will it rally? If it doesn't rally, it's boring, right? So that's how we look at it. So Porsche rallies, yep, we like it, right? Porsche is simple, we like it, right? Porsche is expensive and go, oh Jesus, why is that be expensive, right? But you can have fun with the Hyundai Excel, with the cheapest car out there. Porsche is not, and this is what I tell people, right? It's more fun driving a slow car fast than slowing a fast car, right? I'll repeat. More fun driving a slow car fast than slowing a fast car, right? You will have the fuck in the fast car. Oh, fuck, 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 fuck. You're going to crash. And you will, right? It's too fast. Whereas a slow car, you will flat out, you put your foot down, wang, 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 keep going through it.
And you are
You're,
mastering it, at least.
yeah, yeah. You're,
Yeah.
you're pushing it to its limits, right? You're wringing the head out of it. So you're having more fun. And and you don't need to have a Porsche. You don't need to have the expensive car. You don't need to have a Ford Escort. You don't need any of that. You can pick up a cheap shit box and race. I mean, in Australia, there's there's a Mitsubishi Magna, right? Just a V6 standard car. They're winning rallies in that. They won one of the famous second oldest rally, Alpine Rally, in a Mitsubishi Magna. So anyone could take a car like that and win, right? So you don't need the top car. You can turn up, go steal your mom's car for a day and just, ensure you clean it and put it back.
Yeah, and
I'm sure
don't
many
crash it.
of have done it. Don't take me literally, Zach said so.
But you can have a lot of fun with definitely all engines and
Exactly.
vehicles.
You can. So Porsche for me, it literally, it's become a business. It's become my passion. It's become more so the car that I love because I know the car, I know the brand, I know, generally overall, not to the micro detail of some of the people do, but I know the feel of the car when I sit in it. And that for me is important. I can connect with the car, right? Hence that important. That feel for me is a very important thing when I sit inside a car, right? Especially when it comes to motorsports. And sure, I can drive other cars and I'll have fun, but I enjoy this right now when I have someone in the back pushing me, right? That's called the engine. Sitting at the back, it's literally pushing me. So I know, right, what I have to do. So I like to be pushed, as you can see, Freddie.
Fast, apparently.
Yeah.
So, and for me, it seems to me that I have a friend actually, and he renovates Porsche cars. He buy them and then he renovates totally everything. So he's a very enthusiast with it. And for me, it seems that Porsche, those cars, is just their own culture now.
They are a massive cult following, right? You have famous names and all that. And there's a reason for it because once you get into into the brand and you dive deeper, you start knowing it's about the feel. The feel of the car is very different than the feel of another car. And I'm not trying to compare cars to cars because you can't do that. Every car has its own personality, Freddie. Right? Every car has its own personality, right? And like I said before, you can take a small cheap car and you can, can become yours, right? But and for me, a Porsche, because I think 80% of the Porsches are still on the road. They're built very well. People like to tinker with it. There's a whole aftermarket system there. There's aftermarket support there. Porsche themselves, push it. They themselves share it. They themselves, enjoy that you're doing that with the brand. So the brand has got a cult following. It's a love brand, right? Like your Disney or it's
Exactly.
like it's a love brand. So people love that brand and they do anything to keep it going. So commercially, business-wise, Porsche always makes a good investment, right? You go buy a Porsche, you probably should not lose money unless you're me, goes and rallies and then you lose the car.
That will not be the first thing I'll do, take it on the racetrack if I buy one. I don't know how to drive that fast.
Oh, Jensen, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's a good question in a way. What have cars taught you about life? Because I know the whole culture and the engine and the social thing and that type of life. What's your biggest lessons in life? Maybe from there you can share.
Ah, it's one thing in life. I mean, if you're talking about life lessons, Freddie, it's do what you say, keep your word, right? And if you can't think about it before you do it, right? It takes a couple of minutes to think before you commit to anything. And you can always say, hey, let me think about it, come back to you. And no is also an answer, right? And learning to say no is very important as much as learning to say yes. So
It
that
seems
yeah, go on, sorry.
no, it seems to me that in leadership and life, the people who learn to say no
Hmm.
very fast are those people who last in
No,
everything in life.
it's like I say, a quick no is better than a slow yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? A
Yeah.
fast is better than a slow yes, so you can move on and do stuff. So, and in that aspect, I always come from be frank, be straight. That's my life lesson for anyone. And turn up. Turn up when you say you will, right? Turn up for your team, turn up for yourself, turn up for everyone, and learn to respect yourself because if you don't, no one else will, right? And and don't compare yourself to others because once you start comparing yourself to others, you're never going to live in his shoes because it's only your shoes that you fit into, right? You do not know the size of his shoes. His shoes might be very tight for you, right? Or too big that you can't walk. So either
You
which
know,
way, hmm,
no, I totally agree. Continue.
yeah. So either which way, you're fucked. So be in your shoes. Lack of better.
You know, in these days, especially the younger generation, and yeah, I'm in my 30s, and it's like it's very easy to compare yourself with others and dreaming of what they have, and not really see how hard people have worked for it, or the social media is really there out there to as well. So it's very easy to compare yourself with other people, and can be hard sometimes because everyone has dreams. We are human beings, and but you can also use that as a motivation for yourself.
Absolutely, Freddie. It's one of the things which I say is ideas are emotionally rewarding. You have an idea, emotionally it's very rewarding, right? But execution is most repetition, right? It is repetition and discomfort and accountability, right? That's what it is. And if you're going to do a business, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
If you don't,
exactly.
you can't do it, right? And you got to understand that a lot of stuff which it happens in culture. Culture is not what you say; it's what you repeatedly allow, right? And I can go on. You need to have you need to have if you're trying to build a premium business, you can't have ordinary standards. You got to have very high standards, right? You're just making an expensive logo doesn't make your business premium. It's your root of what happens underneath, right?
Toto once he speaks about the toilet in his in his building, one of the thing, and that is a very detailed culture you need to understand. Where single makes this portion is successful, it's the detail. It's your toilet has to be clean because that's what portrays around the message that you're carrying around to all the business. Everything has to be clean, right? And the founder or the CEO's job is not to be the hero in every problem, right? It's definitely not to be the hero in every problem. It's to build a company, right, that no longer requires a hero. So that's what a CEO and a founder should do. You don't need the hero. Everyone is a hero. So those are very important thing in business. If you have that mindset that it's not about you, your business will do well and have the
and
discipline
and grow.
and grow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What would you say then? If you could just mention maybe 2 or 3 good leadership skills to have, what would you recommend people to learn?
Don't wait too long to make a decision, right? And that definitely I would say. And people wait too long because they're scared to sack someone. The most expensive business problem begins with a conversation somebody did not want to have.
Yeah, the uncomfortable ones.
The uncomfortable ones. And that's what it actually says. Ensure that you're comfortable to be uncomfortable. Right? If you're not, you shouldn't be in business. You shouldn't. You should work for someone else who will take all the fall and do everything else. Right? So a business, if you look at it, is growing and you say, hey, a business can be growing but fundamentally still unhealthy. And I've had that challenges multiple times, right? Where I know
Okay.
the business is unhealthy. And what do I do? Need to fix it. And the fix is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take perseverance, time, tolerance. But you understanding the problem is important. And not blaming everyone else around it. Because if you're going to be the CEO, the buck stops with you. It's you and you only, no one else to blame. Right? So that's a very important part of your own culture that you have to develop. Because if you don't have a culture, how can a team have a culture?
Exactly,
Right?
and the values and the vision as well, I'm guessing.
Correct. Yeah.
And yeah, a little bit more about Jensen. What made you believe in him? Where did you discover him?
Oh, he discovered us, in fact, where he came to us and said, I want to race. And we wanted to see what he was capable of. And he delivered each and every time in every business conversation we did. Right. And he turned up. And then I said, all right, we are having the Adelaide Motorsports Festival. Drive my car, drive the pink car and see how you go in that. Right. And he enjoyed it. He enjoyed being on the track and enjoyed doing the stuff, and which gave him the drive to do even more. And that is a great event. That is a great event, actually. The Adelaide Motorsports Festival is similar to the Goodwood, which is going on now as we're recording. But Jensen has the tenacity, right? He's a feisty young kid, very soft spoken, as you've seen in your podcast and your interview. But he has got the go. He's got the gumption, right? And he will turn up and he will deliver. Do not anyway underestimate the kid because he's soft looking or any of that. And you can't do that with anyone. You can't underestimate anyone, right? So yeah, in that case with young Jensen, he backed himself. That's very important to know. Not that I backed him. And that's very
Okay.
important that he backed himself and hence he's here. So I can't take the credit for the boy. Credit is to him. Right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. What's more rewarding for you, building companies or helping people succeed, or both?
Naturally, of course, both would be the question because one of the things why you do companies is you make money, right? Let's not kid ourselves. Money is part of the thing. But if money is your core focus, you don't enjoy the journey, right? Money is a byproduct of you having fun along the way. And that's the way I look at it. I'm not telling how others should look at it, but for me, it's having fun along the way in the journey. Because at the end of the day, when you're dead, you don't take it anywhere with you. You don't know what life
No,
happens.
nothing.
right? Nothing. So it's might, might as well leave it behind to someone who's going to enjoy it, right? Because you're gone, you don't know what's going to happen anyhow, right? So, uh, that's how I literally see it as, man, and nothing else to it, Freddie, right? I'm not this. I'm no bigger than anyone else, right? But the whole thing is the byproduct will happen. Ensure that you take everyone along for the ride.
That's speaking like a true leader. In my opinion, at least. So very
Yeah,
good values.
I appreciate that. Mm.
And I was also thinking that, I mean, maybe a lot of people, maybe it's a stupid question, I don't know, but how do you actually create money in a business like this? Is it sponsorship? Is it, of course, winning, getting a name, the brand? How does it really work?
Motorsport is a tough business. Any motorsport guys who own motorsports company is very hard. Okay, and there's no two ways about it. Unless you're a very big team with a lot of sponsorship, it is difficult. So many motorsports business kind of offset their income by servicing cars and doing all the other stuff, right? And they have to constantly look for drivers who got the funds to pay for it. But they also have the gentleman drivers who during the weekend, other when the race is not happening, go out racing, right?
Okay,
Those guys keep the business going, right? So
that's
you
how it
do,
is.
yeah, that's how it is. As much as you see the glitz and the glamour in the front, there's a lot of hard work that's going on in the back end. So yeah, so from the brand, I mean, a Porsche is a very respectable brand, right? In the sense that everyone looks at the glamour of Porsche. But again, I should add to that, Freddie, a Porsche should be respected, but not worshipped to the point that nobody drives it. And that's what we see,
Exactly.
right? You respect the car, but don't worship the car, man. And everyone worships the car, not drives the car, right? It's a bit frustrating. Right? It's just not about servicing, it's preparing, it's doing everything and using them where they're meant to be used as. So that's where I come from. It's like a car becomes meaningful, right? When you create memories in it, Freddie.
Yeah, exactly.
And to create memories, it has to be used, right?
Yeah, and
And
all
that
engines needs to be used. If not, they're not gonna be very good.
yeah, right. It's
The,
not the valuation be next to it, right? If you have a child, you know how you have pictures of your child with you in the Porsche, you're driving around, right? Whatever. That's you and your bike, your CBR. You create memories with it. You have a
oh
fall, you
yes,
pick it up, and there's a memories, right? And
a lot of good memories.
yeah, and that's where the value comes. It's your car, it's your memories, right? So like you said before, before the thing, your mom and dad were rallying. Those are the memories that you had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely when you are on a racetrack and you are watching people, and I mean the whole social thing, the vibe, and talking to people, and having a motorsport is so. Even if you are a driver or a part of the team, or you are just one of in the audience, it's the whole energy and the vibe, and it's something social that you have in common that you can talk about. It brings people together.
Oh, it absolutely does. And motorsport, creates the mindset also, man. It how do I say this? It, motorsport builds urgency, right? But not desperation, right? You should have ambition, but not ego. And, having conviction while you're willing to change your mind, right? So if you don't have that in motorsports, it just becomes too static, not dynamic, right? And for that, it's a kind of a thing where everything comes together and you can't be stubborn about it. Like Bruce Lee said, be the water, not the
Be the
storm.
water. And you can
So
always improve.
yeah, you can always improve. Yeah.
So as I was thinking as well, if you could leave listeners with one message about building a meaningful life and a business, what would that be?
Oh, I mean, it's what I want to say is always the confidence is often a result of taking action, you know? It's not the requirement for taking action. It's the result of taking an action, right? But and you have to be persistent. I started with this, right? Persistent is admirable until it becomes an excuse, not to confront reality, right?
Yeah.
So 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 you have to ensure, you got to you're not interested in looking successful, but more interested in building that actually matters, right? That you can leave behind. And you don't think about legacy building the same that it's your name. It's not about your name because no one gives a rat's ass when you're fucking dead, right? You're
No,
gone.
nobody. Then
There's a business that continues and kids can race and go with it, go for it. And if you set up something like that, and and it's very turning up helps a lot. You do not need to be fearless, right? People think, oh, you're not afraid. No, you don't need to be fearless. You need to decide what matters enough to act while you're afraid. If it matters, fear will be there, right? A meaningful life is built, not discovered. So you
exactly.
got to build your meaningful life, not wait for it to be discovered.
And
So,
yeah.
hmm.
And then I would just say, finally, what is your dreams now and plans ahead for the next few years? What's going on there now?
Oh, my I don't know where this is going to end, Freddie. I mean, we can talk another 2 years' time or 5 years' time, and we'll go say, Zach, remember when I spoke to you, then you're doing this, now you're doing that. I literally have to step back into one of my other businesses to become a reluctant CEO to help that business turn around, right? So in 2 years' time, I'll tell you about that business, whether it was successful or was a failure. Hey, it's always a new chapter, but that is business. You start with an idea, you accept the pressure, you surround yourself with good people, and you keep improving the structure and everything around it. And in many ways, that is life. That is life. Your life partners, your friendships, your thing, your everything around you, you keep improving it, right? So I have a very simple philosophy, and I followed this in my life in every aspect. If I enter your world, Freddie, and you enter my world, let's make it bigger and better. Otherwise, we are better off without one another, right? And there's no issues in that at all. There's no problem that you're not working with someone. There's 8+ billion people in this world, right? And you do not need all of them, right? So there's always someone for someone else in every aspect of life and business. So always leave behind someone slightly better off than you left when you found them.
I'll
Right?
totally agree with that in life, business, and relationships.
Yep. And it
Yeah,
could be with a smile. It doesn't have to be promising them the moon and just promise them a watermelon you can buy it from the market.
I
Right.
guess.
And leave with a
It's
smile.
good. Yeah,
Yes. So that's where in my conclusion I would say if you enter someone's life, make it better. Right.
I agree. And I have this last questions I ask everyone who is a guest on the podcast, and that's Fortitude is the name of the podcast, and it means strength.
Yeah.
So throughout your life and career, what methods or techniques have you relied on to overcome against adversity?
Adversity is how I see it as part of the journey, right? It's part of the challenge. I'll go a bit deeper into this, Freddie, the last quick seconds. And I always say this to people. You're black and you're white. You're good and you're bad. You're God and you're devil. You're anything you see opposites are not. You're day and night. They're actually complementaries. One will not exist without the other, right? You can't have a business with no adversities. If you had a business with no adversities, everything was going beautiful, believe me, you'd sell it and walk away. And you'd start one where you have adversities. You have challenges because that's an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you'd be an employee, right? These challenges are what keeps you going. And that's the journey, right? A journey is never meant to be perfect. It's meant to have issues. So enjoy the journey. That's where I'm coming.
very well and good answer. And I would
Thank you.
also just say, and thank you. And I also just want to say, if people want to maybe work with you or sponsor you, or where can they contact you?
We have Renan Motorsport, so they can just send an email on the website, and it'll definitely come to me. Ask for Zach, he'll reach me. We've got a very good team I trust. So, info@renanmotorsports.com.au, or you can look up Retromotive. The information will come across to me, right? And I do thank you, Freddie. You're doing a great job with your podcast, bringing young talent across and old people like me. So, it's a brilliant podcast at that.
Thank you for saying that, and it means a lot to me. And all those links you mentioned will be in the show notes as well. So, and I just wish Renan Motorsport a lot of good luck and fortune in the future. And it's going to be really nice to come over there and see it with my own eyes and experience it.
Look forward to seeing you down under, Freddie. It is a nice place out here, right? Definitely look forward to seeing you. You have a good night, Freddie. Thank you very much for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In third place today for Renan Motorsport, Jensen Shearer.
If you liked this episode, it would mean a lot if you liked, shared, and subscribed, and left a comment with any ideas how to improve the podcast. All of this would really help the podcast grow. Thank you for your support.